International trade is one of the best ways to create more good-paying jobs for our people, as long as our workers and our companies are treated fairly in the tough global markets they compete in. That is not the case today. Chinese trade cheats, after being found guilty of dumping their goods in America, now launder these goods by illegally shipping them through Korea and other countries. This illegality is undercutting our workers, undercutting our companies, and is driving hardworking Americans out of jobs. And all of this is taking place, Mr. President, under the sleepy eyes of America's so-called trade enforcement agencies. This transshipment, Mr. President, is laundering plain and simple, and it is a ripoff of the American worker. My concern is once the U.S.-Korea Free Trade Agreement goes into force, Korea would become a super magnet for this kind of merchandise laundering. Why would any Chinese supplier launder merchandise through Singapore, for example, when doing so through Korea would bless their merchandise with the duty-free status that the U.S.-Korea Free Trade Agreement provides? The answer, Mr. President, is obvious. They wouldn't. Now, for almost a century, our trade laws, the anti-dumping and the countervailing duties, have been enforced by Democratic and Republican administrations. They represent the frontline defense that protects our American workers. They're the laws that protect our businesses and our families from unfair and unscrupulous trade practices employed by foreign competition. But what we are seeing around the country, Mr. President, is that these anti-dumping and countervailing duties are being evaded, and the problem is growing. What we have seen is it takes years for the government to look into and conclude investigations of merchandise laundering. During this period of foot-dragging, our companies get hammered by the foreign trade cheats, and when the cheats get caught, the enforcement agencies have almost never taken the steps necessary to ensure that the duties that are owed are actually collected. The discrepancy between how much the U.S. government is owed by these foreign trade cheats and how much is actually collected is embarrassing, Mr. President. We're collecting something on the order of 20% of what is owed to our government, and that's only from the companies that actually got caught and were prosecuted. The fact is there are many more that are missed every year. What we want in trade agreements is to grow things here, we want to make things here, we want to add value to them here, and we want to ship them somewhere. So we want to export our goods and services, not export our jobs. But unfortunately, again and again, as a result of our competitors evading the trade laws, we've got a broken enforcement process.